Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Systems Thinker Show. This is Season 5, Episode 35, and it is so good to have you with us. A special shout out to our listeners in 32 countries around the globe. It's just awesome to see this community grow. You know, we've set a big goal for ourselves, 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. And get this, a full 43% of you listening right now aren't subscribed. So if you could do us a huge favor, hit that subscribe or follow button. It really helps us with the algorithm so we can keep bringing you these best-in-class business cultural insights. Today, we're diving deep into improving team culture using the 48 Laws of Power as our guide.
So let's just jump right into the big question, right? As leaders, how do we unlock a team's full potential? We spend so much time on metrics, processes, and strategies. But what if the real key, the most powerful lever you can pull, is something else? What if it's hiding in plain sight? Today, we're going to tap into that hidden source of motivation and see how it can totally transform your team's culture.
Okay, so you see this quote from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power, and you might think, whoa, cult-like following? That sounds a little intense, doesn't it? But hang with me for a second. Let's reframe this. Forget the word cult. What if we're really talking about building a powerful, purpose-driven team? A team where every single person feels aligned, motivated, and just deeply connected to a mission that they all share. That's a different story, isn't it?
All right, so talk is cheap. Let's see how this idea actually plays out in the real world. We're going to look at a case study I love, the amazing transformation at a company called Novatech Manufacturing. This is where the rubber really meets the road. So let me set the scene for you at Novatech. On paper, they were doing fine. They were technically excellent. But the culture? It was just flat. Employee engagement was hovering around 54%, and when they looked at the surveys, the feedback was clear. Most of their workers felt like they were just punching the clock. You know the feeling. They were making parts, sure, but they weren't part of a mission. There was no why. And this is where things get interesting. A new CEO, Elena Ramirez, comes in and decides to apply this very principle, Law 27. She didn't just write a new mission statement. She created a new unifying vision, engineering the future of safe flight for humanity. Pretty cool, right? But the real genius, the absolute game changer, was the tagline she gave her team. Every rivet we tighten protects a family. All of a sudden, a simple, repetitive task had this incredibly profound meaning. And here's how they made it real. Because you know, a vision can't just be a poster on the wall. They built rituals around it. Every Friday they had mission moments where they shared real stories. They created a wall of honor with thank you notes from their partners. They even trained their supervisors to be mission evangelists, whose job was to connect every single daily KPI back to that bigger vision of protecting families. It was brilliant. So the bottom line, did any of this actually work? Oh yeah, it worked. This number, 50%, that's the reduction in employee turnover. It was cut in half, from 18% down to 9% in a single year. But it gets better. Productivity shot up 15%, and get this, safety incidents fell by 20%. See, this wasn't just some feel-good culture initiative, it was a full-blown performance revolution. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's a great story for one manufacturing company, but I'm telling you, this Novatech story isn't a fluke. Let's zoom out for a second, because this power of purpose is a universal principle, and it is reshaping industries all over the place. Just look at these numbers from Gallup. Disengaged employees, people just going through the motions, cost the U.S. economy up to $550 billion every single year. Let that sink in. This makes it crystal clear that building a culture of belief isn't just a nice-to-have perk. It's a massive economic driver. Frankly, companies literally can't afford to ignore this. And on the flip side, the upside is what we call the purpose premium. I mean, think about it. You've got the Cleveland Clinic, where a powerful mission of providing world-class care directly leads to higher patient satisfaction. Or a company like Patagonia, where their belief in saving the planet creates this incredibly fierce brand loyalty. It's simple. When people believe, companies just flat out thrive.
But here's a word of caution. An inspiring story by itself isn't enough. For that belief to really take root and last, it needs a backbone. It needs structure. And this brings us to a really critical idea. This balance you have to strike between influence and infrastructure.
So let's imagine we bring a bunch of these thinkers into a room to coach Novatech. You've got Robert Greene, who's all about that symbolic vision and the rituals to create a fast identity. But then you bring in someone like Leonard Johnson, and his focus is completely on the daily routines and the KPIs that turn that purpose into actual performance. They're just different vehicles, but they're all driving toward the same destination.
Let's just boil this all down, okay? It really comes down to two things. On one side, you have influence. That's the why. That's Green's world. It's all about the story, the emotion, the symbolic identity. Then, on the other side, you have infrastructure. That's the how. That's the world of daily discipline, routines, and systems that make the vision real hour by hour, day by day. The real magic happens when you pair those two together. Okay, so we've talked theory, we've looked at a case study. What does this actually mean for you? How do you do this? Let's turn all this into a clear, actionable playbook that you can use to put belief into practice with your own team starting tomorrow.
It really comes down to this simple three-step recipe. First, you've got to craft the story. Find that compelling why that connects the daily grind to a much bigger purpose. Step 2, build the system. This is where you create the daily routines, the KPI boards, the meeting cadences, all the things that constantly reinforce that story. And finally, step 3, measure what matters. You have to track the proof. Show everyone how this newfound belief is driving real, tangible results in engagement, quality, and retention.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Every single team out there is driven by a belief, whether you've stated it out loud or not. The only question is, are you shaping it with intention? Your team needs something to believe in, so what's it going to be? For any additional information, please feel free to reach out to us via our website at www.karissaninnovations.com. And hey, while you're at it, check out our other podcast, The Continuous Improvement Lab. And of course, a huge thank you to our executive producer and founder, Leonard Johnson. Thanks for tuning in.